Rise and shine, and welcome to a new episode of the ASOM experience. How amazing it is to be alive again today and to be with you and to share more and more around topics such as self help, personal growth. Um, just during these times, I get this feeling of how much we really need to hold on to what we have. Life is just so full of surprises, and on a collective level, I'm sure you're feeling fear and um, some other factors that are out there. And I think it's really a good reminder for us to remember how amazing it is to be alive again and to have this chance to be here one more day to create, to serve, to share. So I'm extremely grateful for you, listeners, people watching us, wherever you are, whatever you're doing. Thank you for taking the time. This time is first and foremost for you because you're here to connect with ideas, thoughts, stories, and experiences that we share with our guests, that we share on solo episodes. And just to let you know, this is not the only truth. What you hear during these episodes are personal stories and perspective that could help you if that resonates. So once again, thank you for taking the time. Just want to thank all 28 different nationalities and countries that are connecting to listen to the new podcasts and episodes. And um, wherever you're connected from, feel free to share, to like, to leave a comment, connect also directly with me or with our guest that I will introduce in just a bit. Quick update also on the Odette rebuild. I'm extremely happy and grateful to see a lot of progress. I've mentioned in the previous episodes as well, we've ordered 4,000 pieces of roofing material that is being delivered and used to continue rebuilding our communities. Thanks to you, thanks to your donations. The GoFundMe is still open. Feel free to give a donation, and any contribution is more than welcome. And last but not least, coaching sessions are available. You can reach me out and book a free discovery call. And I would love to hear some of your new goals and how you would like to get there. What is your transformation story? How are we going to help each other to get there? So yeah, just mentioned a few things, and right now I would love to speak with our guest. And just to give you a very quick, brief introduction, someone that I've met since a few months, very inspiring, full of positive energy, someone whose smile is going to be with us for the next minutes or hour. So he's Cuban American, speaks perfectly English and Spanish. He works in graphic design and websites, and currently he's based in Miami. He also speaks a little bit of French, and I was very happy to meet him through a friend as well, who I knew for over 10 years now. So I would love to welcome Jasper Benítez with us. Hi, Jasper. How are you?
Hey, how are you?
Hey, great to see you. What a good setup.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I got the setup out of I used to do some YouTube videos and then I was like, great, I have an opportunity to use it again.
Awesome. Okay, tell us a little bit just about your what you create. What about your YouTube videos? What were they about?
They were about the stuff going on in Cuba after the July 11th protest on the island for freedom. So it was just basically like denouncing the Cuban government and denouncing the communist government that has taken Cuba and its citizens hostage for the past 60 years.
Oh,
So
oh,
that's
okay.
that's what it was about.
You're definitely very connected with your roots as well. I must say as well, for those who don't know, so Jasper is an advocate of mental health, and he's written tons of articles, and he's also done a TEDx. Really an amazing talk that he shared with me recently. So I'm very happy to listen more to his stories and what he wants to share with us, because I will definitely as well share the link to your TEDx. I'm sure that would be very inspiring to people listening and watching. Uh, just a quick, maybe quick information here. How could people just reach you and connect with you? I know you're on LinkedIn and other platforms. What is the best way to reach you out?
I believe LinkedIn would be the best
Yeah,
way
nice.
professionally.
Okay, cool. So I'll definitely write your full name in the description, and this way, yeah, listeners and
Yeah,
people
don't
watching
forget
can.
the accent on top of the
The
I.
accent, the famous accent. No worries at all. Jasper, tell us a little bit your story. Why are you here now? Why are you here today? How come we're doing this?
Well, I mean, open-ended questions for me are definitely a hard thing to answer, because for me, I'm very passionate about mental health. I'm diagnosed with bipolar disorder type 1 mixed severe with psychotic features. I also have ADHD, OCD, and anxiety disorder. Um, so for me, if you think about ADHD, open-ended questions for me can turn into a long tangent of we don't know where we're going.
Yeah.
But I wanted to just be here to just be able to answer any questions or, you know, about my story that people may have. For example, you watched my TED talk, and if questions arose from that, as far as how did I go finally get help, and what made me realize that I needed to get help and support from stuff that was healthy, because I think the problem with us is that a lot of us turn to help that sometimes is more toxic than it is helpful.
Mm-hmm. Do you mean like the quick fixes, or basically going through the easy way, or what?
Right.
Maybe the more, I would say, the more advertised, like medicine, like pharmaceutical medicine, and
Exactly. Yeah,
instead of
because for
really.
me,
Mm,
yeah, sorry. For me, it was a long time of, before I got diagnosed, I always knew I had bipolar disorder ever since I could get on a computer and like Google my symptoms. But I did a lot to not get diagnosed. So like
mm,
you see me trying to go to the gym, you see me trying to exercise or eat better, and while all those things do help, when you have a mental health condition, you have to realize that there are medications that are out there, and everybody decides their own path. But for me, the medication route was what helped me.
yeah, absolutely. You touched point on something right now, and I really feel that interesting. The fact that you said that you were pushing this from happening, or the diagnosis, or getting really confronted with experts or therapists, or any type. I feel like there's a lot of denial as well that's happening on a personal level and collective, of course, when it comes to a certain country or other. I'm not going to be very specific, but um, it's really important what you just mentioned there. And for everyone listening and watching, whatever you're going through, the first step is really willing and wanting to go further and investigate and understand what's going on, instead of just blocking or pushing it away. Maybe a simple Google search, or actually really going all the way and being brave enough to ask for help, to ask for someone who can really unveil and really show you the truth, and then guide you through whatever type of medicine, right? When we say medicine is not just a pill, it can be alternative medicine. And in our last episode, it's interesting, I had an interesting guest. She works with alternative healing methods, such as CBD oils for menstrual aches. And just, yeah, just talking about these, I'm gonna really jump back into your story, because you definitely have a lot to share. But also, I really thank you, Jasper, for sharing first of all your different symptoms, and what you've been through, but talking about them openly. And this is actually a huge step further, um, for anyone out there. And how were you able to get to this point today and be confident enough and willing to really openly share all these?
Well,
Yeah.
I think it's been a process of a lot of years in the making, because honestly, when you talked about the denial aspect of it, I was never really denying myself the the diagnosis, in a sense of I knew I had that and
Mm,
I was okay with it. I was more so against having stuff denied to me
Mm,
because of my diagnosis. And so if whoever has seen my TED Talk or whoever will go see my TED Talk will realize that, I wanted to be in the military in the US.
yes.
I wanted to be a police officer in the US, all things which I'm very happy did not end up happening, as is destiny. But I didn't want my diagnosis to stop me from being able to do those things
Mm,
because I knew it was a hard stop. It's like there's things in life where we have hard stops where it's like someone else is stopping you from being able to get to that. And no matter what you do, it's not possible. And I think that's something that along with accepting your disorder, your mental health condition, you have to accept those hard stops. And I think that's the thing that people struggle with the most is they don't want to have something limit them. But as you'll hear in my TED talk, limits aren't necessarily a bad thing. They are placed in lives and in our lives because they're supposed to show us redirection almost.
mm,
So if we have a limit on something we're trying to obtain and it's not going to happen, instead of wasting our time trying to get that one thing so badly where it becomes almost like an obsession, we should instead redirect ourselves to where that limit is trying to take us. So for me, I didn't get to become a police officer and I didn't get to finally be a part of the US military, but I did get to do a TED talk based off my diagnosis. I did get to become a pharmacy technician and help other people. So it's like accepting that you have the mental health condition and then accepting where it's supposed to take you in life. I think that's the most important part. It's a two-part acceptance. You have to accept you and what you have and then accept what that's going to do for you in the world, good and bad, because there's good parts to it and there's bad parts to it.
hmm it's yeah, it's beautiful the way you describe it, and definitely see all the work that you've done. We'll go a little bit deeper and further into your story. I just want to know what it's just to mention to everyone listening and watching, it's currently 6:30 in the morning where you are at, so thank you for being
It
an early
definitely is
riser.
early. Yeah, so my answers seem a little long-winded and a little confused. I just woke up and put a shirt on and brushed my teeth.
Oh, awesome. Thank you so much. It's because of the time difference and everything. But yeah, I just want to say, what actually motivates you to wake up in the morning? What gets you kicked out of bed besides today and the podcast?
Right. Besides that, I mean, I think what motivates me in the morning to get up is that I have to go to the bathroom and pee.
Yeah.
And I think it's like, and I think if we look at it in that sense of like, it's not trying to be a funny answer because I am a funny person, but I think it's like remembering that we're human and that we have to get up
Yeah.
because, remembering that there are things in life that we have to do no matter whether we want to or
Mm,
not. And I think that's the hardest thing is that when you're someone like me that has bipolar disorder, there's definitely a lot of mornings where we don't want to get up,
right. Mm,
where we don't even want to still be here.
yeah.
And then there's something that happens that is just a natural body, natural bodily process that it's like, you have to wake up, go to the bathroom and all that stuff. And then it almost like kicks you out of bed to being like, okay, remember, you're still normal. You're still like everyone else. And I think that's something that a lot of people do struggle with when they have a mental health condition and they feel different than other people because
Mm,
we haven't normalized mental health conditions yet to the point where it's like having diabetes or breaking your leg.
correct.
It's not normal to a lot of countries, especially coming from a Hispanic background. That was something that I struggled with for a long time. It's because even if I wanted to get help when I was younger, it was a more of a, is he really bipolar or is it just,
Mm,
is it just that he's being spoiled type of thing? And and wanting attention. So I think that when we realize that we still do everything the same way as everybody else does and still have the same bodily needs, we start to realize how human we are and how normal it can be to have that part of your human experience.
Amazing. You just reminded me of the last closing phrase of your TEDx when you said, could you repeat that? Could you repeat that one? I don't have it really totally by heart, but you said something like, I want to tell you, you can be bipolar and still.
Oh yeah, it was, I mean, that TED Talk was so long ago. It was so many years ago, but I think it was something along the, I can't even paraphrase myself at this point, but it was something along the lines of like stuff that I usually say normally is that like, that you can live your life with a mental health condition, but you have to choose to conquer it.
Right. Yes.
You have to choose that you're conquering. So basically, like I myself am conquering life with bipolar disorder. No matter what the limits are that imposes on myself, you know, those hard stops like we were talking about earlier, you know, we can still choose to conquer our lives no matter what. You know, we may not be able to do everything that everyone else does, or we may do some things differently than other people do, but we're still conquering life in our own way. And I think that's what's special about human beings, to be honest, is that we all have different paths, different destinies, different whatever you want to call it based on what you believe in. But at the end of the day, we all have the right to claim ourselves as having conquered something. Absolutely. Whether it's different than what you're conquering or whether it's different than what I'm conquering. I mean, either way, we're all conquering something in our own right.
That's so true. And I love the fact that you said claiming. This was the word that was on my mind, and I was gonna bring it up. Claiming, as in, so conquering for some feels like it requires a lot of fighting or coming in certain opposition and trying to get something that we don't really have, but it's more like actually claiming what we already are. I mean,
I use that word randomly because it's 6:30 in the morning, but it is true. I mean, honestly, like, you know, when we think about life and we think about conquering, all the conquerors in the world have always had to fight for that.
True.
And that's not necessarily a bad thing. You know, I think that it would be unrealistic to tell someone that they're going to have bipolar disorder and they're not going to have to fight a day in their life.
100%.
That would be very unrealistic because I do fight every day of my life and I do have to. And there was a thing that I used to say that was basically stay in the fight. Like, you know, we have to stay fighting for ourselves. The difference is that we're fighting for ourselves in this case. You know, we're not conquering other lands. We're not conquering other people. No, we're trying to conquer ourselves.
Absolutely.
And that's the thing. I mean, I don't see it as a bad thing. And like you said,
not at all.
Like you're claiming who you are. And I think that comes with the acceptance. I think that comes with the earlier part that we were talking about is, accepting really who we are and not denying it anymore.
Totally. I feel I love the word conquering in the way that it also gives us the responsibility and the accountability to do the work, because nothing's going to be given easily, for granted, and it's going to be presented to you on a silver platter. So that's where I totally agree with you. Let us go a little bit back in time. Was there a specific turning point or an aha moment or an experience that you want to share with me and the listeners that maybe shaped all that transformation and how you show up today?
It's hard because for me, it's hard to pinpoint one specific moment that caused me to change who I am or to elevate who I am, is what I like to say. I don't like to ever say that we change, we just elevate. And we come to understand more of who we are. I think for me, it's been in phases, but one of the biggest phases of transformation was when I originally got diagnosed. I mean, when I decided to put myself into a hospital to get my diagnosis, one, because I knew that was the fastest way to start what I knew I needed, which was medication. And two, because it it made me have to face reality and face my reality within four walls. So, I was in the hospital and I was there for 3 days, and I had to come to terms. Like, if there was no better way to like go into, it was almost like withdrawals of who you were previously, with understanding of who you were gonna be next. And I think for me, honestly, being in that hospital made me have to face reality that once I walked out of those doors again, life was going to be different for me. And it was going to be a long time of understanding and accepting that that difference wasn't going to stop me from living my life in some form or way. And I think that was one of the biggest turning points of my life, was just getting on medication, getting on the journey of recovery. Because like what I say and why my TED Talk is titled the way it is because those 72 hours that I spent in the hospital really were my jumpstart, my push into a lifelong journey of recovery. Because for anybody with a mental health condition, especially one like bipolar disorder, I think of it as the same way as an addict who may fall off the wagon sometimes, who may relapse and then has to push themselves back into recovery. It's the same way. I mean, there's certain days where I am having a really bad episode and I am the one that has to push myself back into reality. I have to push myself back into going back to that person that I said I would be when I left the hospital.
Right. This is where responsibility and accountability come in, in hand.
Precisely.
And Jasper, wonderful, wonderful. Thank you. And once again, you truly have an inspiring story for many people listening and watching us. So once again, if you want to connect directly with Jasper, it's Jasper Benítez with an accent. So tell us a little bit, what would Jasper advise his younger self, like when you were in your teens? What would you tell the younger Jasper today?
I love that question always, because there's different answers you'll give to different sets of people based on who you're talking to. But honestly, like, what I always come down to at the end of it is not to be afraid, first of all, of everything that you are. And then second is to just relax, because eventually the time will come and you're going to be where you want to be. Because I think when I was younger, I spent a lot of time worrying about the future. I spent a lot of time worrying about, am I going to get to do what I want to do and be who I want to be? And I didn't get to really enjoy my childhood or my teenage years because of that constant worry of trying to hurry up time. I wanted time to hurry up so badly. I wanted to be an adult so badly so I can make my own decisions and do my own life. And then now as an adult, I'm like, wow, I wish I could go back to my childhood and to my teenage years and tell myself, enjoy what you have around you right now, because it won't always be that way.
The small things.
The small things, exactly, because I had an amazing childhood and I had an amazing teenage years. I mean, my parents gave me everything that I had ever wanted and could ever want, but I was too busy worried about what's tomorrow going to bring.
Being better, being more accepted, being more seen. Yeah, this is also normal. I think human behavior. We're tribal. We want to be integrated and accepted and validated. But it's true that with time and with experience and maturity, we get to unlock these chains. Beautiful. I'm gonna jump to the future, or maybe the present more. What is your main goal or your mission, or what do you aspire truly for?
Well, what I aspire for truly is just to be happy.
Mm,
And I mean, I know that sounds so cliche. It sounds so ridiculous to say like you just want to be happy, but when you're someone that struggles with your mood disorder, like bipolar disorder, for
yes.
example, you have to consciously choose some days to be happy. You have to tell yourself, today sucks. Today is not a great day. Today you're just not having it. But
Mm,
you still have to choose to be happy that day. You
sure.
have to you have to choose to find something that'll make you laugh. Because you see, when I'm in an episode, what I want is to laugh. Like I want to laugh, and that usually helps me like start. It grounds me and it helps me like remember the good things about life. So it goes back to accountability, like you say. Everything is about accountability when you have a mental health condition. So honestly, like I want to be living a life where I feel that I am happy more days than I am not. And that's what I aspire for. And that's what I work towards every single day. I don't care what job I'm doing, what career I'm doing,
Mm-hmm.
what work I'm doing, but it needs to make me happy because it takes up so much of our time to be an adult. So we need to fill our
Yeah.
adult lives with stuff that make us happy.
Wow. That's a very good reminder there for everyone who's struggling or going through certain conditions, and um, it is totally okay to seek your happiness and to conquer your happiness, even when it's not guaranteed, such as, you know, the story and the case of Jasper and many out there. And wow, this is truly touching, to, you know, to really choose yourself over and over again, because in the end, and this is where I want you, Jasper, to share more, you know, the fact that you're working on your happiness, given that it's never truly guaranteed,
Exactly.
the fact that you're filling your cup, how is this also serving and contributing for people around you? Tell us.
That's a great question. Honestly, ever since, so I don't, to begin with, I don't think I'd be here today speaking to you if I wouldn't have gotten on medication.
Mhm.
That's one thing. It's not to say that if that my medication was perfect from the beginning. It wasn't.
Right.
I spent about a good 5 years just trying to get on the right treatment. But once I did get on the right treatment and once I did work on certain things about myself, I started realizing that my relationships with other people were a lot better. They're still not perfect. For example, I still have a really hard time in my dating life because of my disorder and because of my inability to regulate my mood consistently, you know. So in dating I do struggle, but my personal relationships, my social relationships, as far as non-romantic relationships go, I feel that I'm a lot more present with them. I'm able to give a lot more, but I'm also not giving parts of myself or parts of what I can contribute if I don't want to. For example,
Mm.
um I've learned more on how to say no to things that don't make me comfortable, that don't make me feel good, that don't make me happy. Um, let's say, I used to be that friend that would always give people advice, and they'd always come to me for advice. And once I started choosing myself and working on myself, I started realizing that while it did make me happy to help my friends and to help other people, there were days where I needed to not do that,
Mm.
and that was okay. There were days where I needed to just take care of myself and not be trying to take care of everybody else, because I had a savior complex for a lot of years. I guess because of the fact that I couldn't save myself at the beginning,
Mm-hmm.
I kept trying to save everyone else. And I got to a point where I realized, I'm out here saving everybody else, but who's out here trying to save me? And I did have those people, and those are the people that to this day, no matter what, I will save, even if even if I'm drowning. But all those other people, I needed to keep in mind that I have to put myself first. If I
Yes,
don't put
totally.
myself first, I can't help anybody else anyway.
Totally. This is the same concept as, put your oxygen mask on,
Exactly.
when flying.
And I tell people that all the time.
Yeah. Um, talking about, also trying to help and save others. Who today are you impacting the most around you?
I've never had to think about that, and I've never actually thought about that. But if I had to, I don't think the person is around me. I think the person is myself.
Mm-hmm.
The one that I'm
Yeah,
impacting the
very
most is
valid.
myself.
Very valid. Okay.
I mean, because yes, it feels good to know that, for example, I go to some of the articles that I've written before, and I read the comments, or I check to see how many views it has, and if anybody has said anything, and you'll see some things here and there. But what truly brings me satisfaction is not that. It's knowing that I was able to do that because I worked on myself first.
Right. This I just want to add this, like, this allows you really to show up as well. The fact that you worked, and you it's a work in progress, right? Like, you continue to work on yourself allows you to show up. And showing up itself is actually serving, and in a way it has an impact just by your presence, right? Without even
Exactly.
without really doing what you do. But it's totally a valid answer, knowing that the most person impacted is yourself. And just a similar question, maybe a little bit twisted. There's a saying that we are all heroes. Some of us don't wear capes, and this is the case of many of us. We don't wear capes, or we don't even know that we are actually heroes or have heroic powers. Who are you a hero to? This might be very similar to the previous question, but do you feel that in any different way?
I do think that the sense of heroism and being heroic, I think it's about who you inspire. I think that's really what heroism comes down to. It's who you inspire to do something good in their lives just by having heard you. And if that's the case, then I think I'm a hero to anyone who listens to me and is struggling with something similar. I think I'm a hero to anybody who reads my articles and is struggling with something similar. But if there was one person that I had if there was like actual individuals in my life who I think I have to say that I'm a hero to, I don't know if I'd be ready to put that on them. I don't think I'd be ready to say, oh yeah, this person I'm a hero to, this person I'm a hero to, because it's not for me to decide who I'm a hero to. It's for them to say.
Right. Absolutely. No, I totally get it. Totally
So
get
it's
it.
almost like it feels weird not being able to answer your question, but it's just, I don't think it's my place to be the one that decides who I'm a hero to. I think that those people at the end of the day will be the ones that come out and say, wow, he was my hero, or wow, he was heroic for me or inspirational to me. And I think that would say a lot more about me than me claiming people as having been a hero to them.
Hero to them. There's definitely not a right or wrong answer in any of this interview or this podcast. So you're most welcome, even just saying
But no,
that.
definitely my answers are the only right ones, right?
Big time. Since you're also in a very, I would say you have a lot of good humor. Tell us something funny. Just this is, I've never asked this to anyone, but just share something funny out of the blue.
Oh my God. Well, honestly, like I always tell my parents that when I try to be funny, I can't be funny.
You see,
I honestly do.
You're funny. You're funny.
No, but I do, because there's times where like I try to do stupid. Like a lot of my humor is, a lot of it is my sarcasm, but then on top of that, I do very funny physical things. So like, for example, my parents call me Rain Man because they say that when I need to do something, like I get it. Like, I don't know if you've ever seen the movie, but he's like, I gotta go to Kmart. I gotta go to
Nicolas
Kmart. I
Cage.
gotta go to yeah, like I gotta.
Yeah.
I don't. I think I don't remember who even plays Rain Man, but honestly, it's like when I get it with one thing that I need to do, it becomes a like repetitive thing. Like I need to do that, I need to do that, I need to do that, and until I do it, I don't shut up. So when it comes to me being funny, they find that funny. They find my way of being funny, which to me makes me laugh too, because that's the thing. Like I make myself laugh a lot because I
Yeah,
know that some of the
that's
things I do is
oh
ridiculous, but it's funny, and
yeah,
I like laughing, and so really like, but when I try to be funny, when I try to like
yeah.
do something funny, I don't feel like I get that many laughs.
It's mental. That's where the trap is. When you try, it's so mental instead of just being completely spontaneous, which is more from the heart. And yeah, I love also the fact that you mentioned laughing, with yourself, or self laugh, or even laughing about yourself. I do that, practice that a lot, and I'm like in this self talk, and I'm like, Serge, it's like
No, like I like to say, like, okay, so I'm Cuban, right? So since I'm Cuban, we are bullies. We really are bullies,
Ooh,
right? And the Hispanic family loves to bully one another.
okay.
And I think that's where I get most of my ridiculousness from, is that I've grown up my whole life like, you know how people say like, oh, there's a lot of bullying happening in the schools.
Yeah,
What about the bullying happening at home? Like, it was always good taste bullying. It was never like, oh, like you're gonna like
it's
pull me by
cultural.
my pants or
It's
anything. It
right.
was just like, like, for example, after I gained a little bit of weight, it was almost like, okay, roly poly oly, there you are. So I like to poke fun of myself, and I love to poke fun of those around me, because I think we take ourselves too seriously sometimes. I really do
Right,
think
we
so.
do, we do. Yeah, big
Yeah, and
time.
once you're taking yourself too seriously,
You miss
people are
out.
gonna go. You're gonna miss out, and people are gonna go against you. Nobody
Mm,
likes a serious Sally. Nobody likes that, or a
yeah,
serious Sam. No one likes that. That's boring. I mean,
yeah.
life is already boring enough. I mean, I think that's the reason why I seek laughter so much, is because adult life, man, it sucks. It's so boring.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Gotta pay bills and stuff. Like, what is that?
it's interesting. It's interesting also. I think this is where connecting with your inner child, helps a lot, and brings out this play and this fun and
Well,
this
let me tell you,
innocence.
my inner child has never left me, because I'm vertically challenged. I'm only 5'4", and
Oh,
so,
human design.
huh?
Human design.
Yeah, by human design, I'm only five.
Yeah.
I'm only 5 feet 4 inches. So
Oh,
like,
no, 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 no. Okay, I messed up
I,
something else. I was talking astrology and all. Okay, go ahead.
no, you're going way too into your
Yeah.
background right now. But no, I'm vertically challenged, right? Which means that I'm only 5 feet 4 inches,
Okay.
and as a man, that's very short, and that's 5 feet 4 inches with shoes on. Okay, so as a man, I'm very short, so I have to make up for it somehow,
Right.
and I guess my inner child was like, okay, we're here to stay, because we didn't realize that our body grew up, so they stayed there. And then now I just get to poke fun of myself and those I love, because I listen,
Mm.
if you're not making fun of yourself, someone else is going to do it for you.
Yeah, yeah, no,
That's how I see
absolutely,
it.
absolutely, absolutely. This is a practice that I keep doing, trying.
And
Yeah,
what's funny is that I remember when I was younger, I used to get bullied a lot at school.
yeah, same.
Actually, I
Yeah.
was bullied a lot at school because I was always a small little guy. Like,
Mm.
I was always the smallest and all that stuff. So I got bullied a lot at school. And I just remember, I don't know who it was, but it was like, I was in elementary school maybe. And someone, or one of the teachers probably was the one that told me, if you don't, if you don't like come out about it from the beginning, like, yeah, I'm short and what, then they're gonna
Mm.
think that bothers you, and they're gonna use it against you, and they're gonna use it to
Ooh,
bother you. So whatever bothers you, put it out front
put it up front and be proud of it.
and be
Be.
proud of it. So then nobody will want to attack that. They might attack something else that you had no idea that actually
Mm.
bothers you. but at least they won't attack the one thing that really bothers you. So for a long time, it was like my nickname was Shorty and all that stuff, because I did not like being short, and I still don't like being short. But hey, it is what it is. I mean, I can't do anything about it.
Yeah, but
I already tried.
for a kid, for a child, that's a bit hard to, to conceive and tell them, be proud of all your
It was
flaws,
hard.
or your,
Yeah, it was hard for me at the beginning. It was hard for me at the beginning, but when I started I started doing it. I remember I was in elementary school and I started, saying, yeah, I'm short. Okay. And what's so funny about it? Like, and exactly, like when we say, yeah, and people start to like realize that like it doesn't bother you. So why, or if it does bother you, you're hiding it so well.
Why hold on so much to it? That's a really good one for anyone listening, watching. If you've been through bullying yourself, this is a good way. Even years later, even if today you're not bullied anymore,
even as an adult,
even as an adult, just accepting yourself for all your traits and characteristics and features, and and just being like, so what, wonderful. Jasper, I'm going to run a little bit in the next few questions. The world is listening right now. What is your message?
Okay, I'm not the Pope, and I'm not here to solve the world crises happening around the world. But I think my message is that if we are happy with ourselves, we have no reason to take happiness away from other people.
Well, say this again.
So if we are happy with ourselves, we have no reason to take away happiness from other people.
Wow. Okay.
So I think we need to all take that back into a meeting and in our heads and start thinking about what about ourselves makes us so unhappy that we feel the need to take happiness away from other people. We feel the need to be mean to other people. We feel the need to take the lives of other people. If we were to realize like what it is within ourselves that we're missing, we might be able to circumvent that and then no longer need to drain other people of their happiness.
Wow. I really feel this also resonates with what's happening today on a worldwide level, and war itself and countries. I mean, regardless of media, just if you look at the big picture, right? And why is one attacking another, or why is, even in the same household, even in the same company relationship, why is one trying to take away from the other instead of adding? But that's it. In order for you to add, just make sure you're happy. Just make sure, it sounds cliche, but it's more than that. It's way beyond just being happy. Make sure you're full. Make sure you've got your mask on. Yeah.
Look, if you think of it like this, okay, so in math, addition is a positive, right? It's a little cross, a positive cross, right? Subtraction is the negative. It's a negative line, right? It's just a line. So when we think of it like that, if we want to add, we have to be positive, and if we want to subtract, we have to be negative. That's a simple way of remembering it. If you're subtracting, you're being negative, or if you're negative, you're subtracting, and if you're adding, you're being positive. I mean, there's no easier way to remember it than that.
Wow, that's a first time for me to see it like this. Amazing. Jasper, wow, you're definitely full of inspiration and tips and stories. And anyone listening and watching, once again, if you want to connect with Jasper, it's Jasper Benítez. I will share again his name. And here we are at our fast Q section. You've got one word or a few words to answer every fast Q. Are you ready, Jasper?
Oh, this is gonna be fun. Yeah, I think this is gonna be fun.
Take a deep breath.
No, that was too deep. You heard all my nasal passage.
All good, all good. What is the meaning of life?
Love.
Nice. We are put on this earth for what reason?
To love.
To love. What is destiny?
Inevitable.
Inevitable. What is true happiness?
Love
Do you
and
believe
loving
in,
others.
yes, do you believe in reincarnation or an afterlife?
I do, yes.
What is true mindfulness?
Being in the moment.
What does it mean to be present?
To feel everything that's happening around you.
Okay, and last but not least, I want you to think really about this one. How would you describe God?
Omnipresent. God's everywhere. And God is action. God is, first of all, God is love. But beyond being love, the point of God being love is that God is action. So God is not in what you say, it's in what you do always.
Right.
So, God is a person of action, and I think we need to be people of action as well.
That's a very, very, very wise and great way of answering. I've never had this before. No one said it the way you said it, Wonderful. You were great with the fast cues. Very good job. I was expecting to go a little bit longer.
I was taking it seriously. I took the rules seriously. You said one word, so
you were so serious, Jasper. So serious.
Yeah, I was ready. I was like, okay, I'm listening. I
Amazing.
put my head closer to the computer, but I have AirPods on, so I don't even know what the point of that was.
No, I know. No, it's really good, really good. I'm glad also that you've used love over and over again, and that word, I think, wraps up a lot of questions and topics. Talking about questions, and this is our final bonus question. What question have I not asked you today that you would like to maybe develop a little bit further and share more around?
Honestly, I think that you ended it well with just asking about what is God, or I mean, I think that could be my mic drop moment. I don't think there's really anything that you haven't asked today that I would say, man, that's something you should definitely ask. I love those questions. I love what you do, first of all, on this podcast, but those fast cue questions and then throwing that one at the end, that's priceless. I didn't see that one coming.
Wonderful. So once again, it's all about action, and it's not about words. And I'm rephrasing and quoting what you just said about God. So for everyone out there listening and watching, whatever you're going through, whatever you're doing, whatever condition you have or you do not have, know that it's perfectly normal the way it is. And with the work, the time, the patience, the courage as well, to give yourself, to fill your cup, to be happy, this is the way to make it. And Jasper, thank you again for sharing your stories. I mean, I'm extremely grateful, and you definitely impacted me and many listening to us today. So once again, thank you so much. Thanks again to the listeners and people watching. Leave a comment.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks, Jasper, a lot. And we will connect again in 2 weeks on a new episode. And the next one is going to be a solo episode. Thank you so much. Have a good day or have a good night, wherever you are, guys, and take good care.